Okay, we will try to understand about data and model quality monitoring with Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor. So in production, we can set up continuous monitoring with real-time endpoint, or we can set up continuous monitoring with batch transform job that run on time based. And the third setup we can do is on schedule monitoring for asynchronous batch transform jobs. What is this asynchronous batch we are referring here is on an event. Let's say uh, a, a prediction has been generated um, when a request made to the model. So this will automatically get triggered based on the event. Whereas if we see this above one, this is also automatic, but this is based on the time. Like we want to run daily or we want to run once in 15 days, likewise. And if we see there is any deviation, either it can be in the quality, that could be quality of data or quality of model, or it can also be, you can say the bias or feature attribution drift. So that is based on the quality or the drift. We will send an alert to notify the manager or the team lead. So this is how we can detect the deviation and can take a corrective action. So the corrective action can be a retraining model or fixing the quality issues without having to monitor model manually. So this is a kind of, I would say, fixing the quality or the drift issues and then retrain the model to get the expected output. And then there are few types of monitoring. Data quality, that is to monitor the drift in the data quality. Then we have model quality, that is also to monitor drift in the model quality. That could be the like the accuracy is dropping down, and there could be a drift in the bias drift, monitor bias in your model prediction. So that is also a kind of drift. Bias drift we can understand. Let's say there is an um, a loan enterprise and it is doing some prediction when a user apply for the loan, and based on that model we are predicting whether we should approve or we should reject. So that model is biasing the result, like it is approving for the white Americans, but it is rejecting for the black Americans. So this is a kind of bias uh, with respect to the color of a person. So that will come in the bias drift category. Then we have feature attribution drift. So feature attribution drift, we can understand, let's say we created earlier a model for age group of 18 to 60 year, but now that range is no more relevant. There are users which are from age 15 to 18, they are using it, so we can um, update our feature, which is giving more importance in the in learning the pattern correctly. So this is one. And now if I see few topics, it's like how we can monitor a model in the production. That is to detect the drift. That could be in data, model, feature attribute, or in the bias. So based on that category, we can alert uh, the we can alert the lead or the manager, like what the corrective step we can take further. Then how the SageMaker works, that we'll see uh, further. How it works means like there are jobs which are running. There are merge job, then there is a baseline job, then merge and baseline job is being used in the monitoring job, and then that monitoring job is processing and comparing the baseline job and the merge job data to get the violation. If there is a violation, then it will create an alert and notify the uh, manager or the team member. And then there is a data capture. So when we talk about model monitoring, so we have to enable the data capture in the configuration so that it will capture the data and it will send the data to the S3 path, which we will define, and then that data can be further used in our jobs. Quality, data quality, uh, like data quality means the data itself needs to be corrected, or data needs to be prepared with updated, I would say, feature, which is giving more importance in learning the data, learning the pattern correctly. Then model quality, um, it's like the model, in the model we use frameworks, machine learning frameworks like scikit-learn, and in the scikit-learn we have algorithm, so maybe we need to update the algorithm so that we can get more accurate results. So that is like to update the uh, quality of a model. Then the bias drift. So bias drift is like it is approving more loans to a particular set of users, and not for the other set of users. So it's a kind of bias among the users. So that shouldn't be there based on the data. It should give the prediction, not based on the color of a person who is applying for the loan. Feature attribution drift, we understood like how feature attribution drift, it's a kind of the column of a data which is used in training the model to make it learn the pattern out of that data. That column itself we need to update because that is more relevant to the current time. So that is related to that, like which is giving more importance. And schedule monitoring jobs. So we understood already schedule monitoring jobs that could be automatically based on the time or based on the event. Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor pre-built containers. So when we do the model monitoring, let's say we are doing the bias, we're detecting bias drift or feature attribution drift, then we use a clarify container that is pre-built in, and that it will give the prediction, it will give the um, insight out of our model performance. And the result is being saved to S3 again. So if we want to showcase to the higher management, these are the reports which are showing the drift in data or the model or the bias or the feature attribution. So based on uh, that report, we can take further action after consulting in a team and visualize result for a real-time endpoint. So we can also visualize that result which we have saved in S3 so that we can get some insight what the corrective action we can take. And there are some advanced topic and some frequently asked questions. Okay, so here we will be understanding how this actually works. So when a issue happen, so a team member is being notified, and then it uses some rules to detect drift, right? So how we set up that entire model monitoring with the rules which we want to compare. So this is here. So how the request flows is a user is using mobile application or maybe the browser, he's accessing um, our model, and that of course that model is being served by wrapping it into a fast API. And this application, so then it will go to an SageMaker endpoint, right? And that where we have deployed our model, and it will predict based on the request made. So that request and the prediction which it given as a result would be saved to S3. Same here, there would be a review uh, with the human or maybe with the system. So it will actually check whether the prediction is correct or not. So based on that labeling, that will also be saved in the merge job. Now both the data have been saved. The actual truth, the ground truth, and the predictions made by SageMaker endpoint. Both are saved into a merge. They both are used in a merge job. And then that merge data is saved to the S3. Same, that S3 job is giving an output to the model monitoring job. And like when we create a training job, so we use a prepared data. So that prepared from that prepared data, we'll create a baseline processing job, and that will have some conditions like the user should be of age, let's say 40 to 80. Um, so it will keep a check on this condition, and that data is also being used in the monitoring job. So the monitoring job is using now uh, the data from merge job and the data from baseline processing job. Now this will this will the logic which have inside monitoring job, it will save the output to the S3 bucket with a violation, and then this while based on this violation, it will send alert to the user for updates that could be in training or that could be in data or that could be in model, and based on that output we will do the retraining. And this is for real-time endpoint. Let's say before even doing the setup in the production, we wanted to check our monitoring setup um, in offline because that is needed. We cannot mess with the production, so we will do a batch transform, and that batch transform, you know, we will be getting a report. If we are fine, if we are okay with the report, then we'll deploy this setup onto the real-time inference. Otherwise, we'll again um, update in the. Otherwise, we will do re. Otherwise, we will um, update the batch inference job first until we get the expected report. We are okay to go ahead. And so this is like the input which we are giving in a batch. So it's not actual request from the user. It is a data, let's say test data, which we are using in this inference to see how it predicts. And the baseline uh, um, processing job which we have used just to compare the result from the inference uh, and from the baseline. And then based on that, it will collect and analyze to produce a report. And then that report we can showcase to our management to take corrective action. There are few limitations or few checks which we have to um, keep in mind. That is, it will use tabular data only. For example, image classification model takes image as an input and output a label based on the image. Can it still be monitored? Model monitor would be able to calculate metrics and statistics for the output, not for the input. And because this is the data type is image, so the output is based on that output, it will do. Model Monitor currently supports only on endpoints that host a single model and does not support monitoring multi-model endpoint. So multi-model endpoints is a concept. Let's say we have a user base. A subset of user is using free account, free subscription, and other subset of user is using paid subscription. So we will be giving different model to serve our customer base. So that is not supported. And Model Monitor supports monitoring inference pipeline also. So it is not like doing for individual container, but it is doing for the entire pipeline. Prevent impact on the inference request. So there is one checkpoint that we have to ensure before doing this setup, that is the disk utilization. So we have to ensure that when data capturing is continuing capturing requests, we should have 25% free disk to process our um, real request from the user. And also, when we deploy a SageMaker Studio, so we use our network where we deploy our studio. So in Model Monitor to communicate with S3 buckets, because we are storing data from inference from ground truth, inference from endpoint, and and um, and the job baseline processing job output, and the merge job output to an S3 bucket. So to communicate among the buckets, we need an endpoint so that we will be creating so that it is secure. Our request is not going through the public internet, it is using um, the AWS backbone, AWS network to communicate to our buckets and the studio where we have our monitoring setup. This is one, and these are few checkpoints. Model monitors simple notebooks, so it's a kind of end-to-end workflow, which is here for a real-time endpoint. And this is to visualize uh, the monitoring schedule, and here is like the when we create a notebook instance, and so we can, like, there are few examples. So from those example tab we can select from a list any sample, and then we can choose that one sample, and so that will be copied to our notebook. It's a kind of get started samples. So it is all about um, model monitoring, and like how we do the monitoring in SageMaker Studio.